council and on the board by city council Lipscomb Court. I thought there were a number of empty chairs here that I knew I saw some of you earlier.
City council version of the workable program. We will take your vote.
Thank you, Chairman Moss. Ladies and gentlemen, if I look a little faint, it's just because I haven't had a decent meal since breakfast. You see, the city council worked right on through the dinner, and then they instructed me to come out here and perform this.
We are asking for a referendum. And this referendum could easily be held at the time of the city charter revision election, rather than being tacked onto the bond issue. However, if this ordinance comes to a vote today and the ordinance is passed, our organization, the Greater Dallas County League of Women Voters, plans to join with other organizations across the city to obtain a public vote on this, and if necessary, we plan to collect as much as $20,000 in order to bring this vote about.
This ideal of a man of any race or any color or any religion, living in any community that he desires and can be responsible to, that ideal is inscribed in the birth certificates of this nation and embedded in the Judeo-Christian heritage which underpins the Constitution of the United States.
You've asked for more pay, more personnel, and more and better equipment. Which of these requests do you feel is the greatest need for right now?
The greatest need, I think, is the additional personnel. I think if all of our officers were asked today which of these they'd rather have, they'd all go for the additional personnel. We're extremely short of personnel and have been for years and years, and may continue to be short for years to come. There's a great turnover in the department, and has been a tremendous turnover over the past 10 or 12 years.
Well, I found out that the majority of the people in the governmental entities in Dallas County preferred the lever-type machine. So to use the punch card machines for one election every 2 years, I felt like it was ridiculous, and this is what the people here in Dallas County preferred. So I'm on the other side. I'm for whatever the people want as far as voting is concerned, and I feel like that voting is our #1 priority, and I feel like that we are obligated here in the Commissioners Court to provide this service.
Today.
Mr. Mayor, I was opposed to the city open housing ordinance, but since studying it, I changed my mind after reading the revised ordinance more than once.
Discussion?
Mr. Mayor, Alexis, there shall be submitted to the resident qualified voters of the city of Dallas an election for their approval or disapproval the following proposed ordinance to wit, and I submit the complete text of Mr. Allen's proposed ordinance.
Right, would you like the roll call on that, Mr. Mayor? This is a roll call on the ordinance submitted by Councilman Allen. Councilman Fain?
No.
No. Councilman Allen?
Aye.
Aye. Councilman Gilmore?
Aye.
Aye. Councilman Martinez?
Aye.
Aye. Councilman Cadane?
Aye.
Jones says the police department is extremely short of personnel, citing the fact that Fort Worth needs 342 more officers to meet the national average of 2.6 officers per 1,000 population. According to the Police Association, citizens here are paying approximately the same taxes as other cities the same size, yet receiving less than one-third the police protection. Currently, 60 patrolmen cover 46 beats at any given time of any day. Since April of this year, 23 officers have left the department. 19 of those, according to the association, left because of low pay. The current starting salary for a trained patrolman is $620 a month. After Jones received a standing ovation from those in attendance at council today, we talked about the department's needs. Police have also questioned whether or not the council adequately assessed the availability of city funds. Police were denied a raise in September of this year because of the lack of funds. However, Jones cited that the council only this month found $38,000 somewhere to support a community affairs department, a department the association feels is a duplication of the police public relations department. Jones says he would like to see that money used for recruitment. Detective Jones is a 15-year veteran of the Fort Worth Police Department. He claims he will not leave if the requests are not met immediately, but he did say he knows others who said they will seek other employment. From comments made by the councilman this morning, it may be a while before the money is found to fund all the requests. Jim Green, Channel 8 News on the Move, Fort Worth.
According to the agenda, the meeting could have been a most productive one. Actually, it amounted to a series of unimportant incidents, such as Commissioner Dick Lewis calling County Judge Howard Green a liar, a charge which the judge did not deny. The judge and Commissioner Richardson disagreed over issues ranging from the juvenile detention center to why so many of the judge's secretaries leave their job. The commissioners from the 1st and 4th precincts alternated between throwing gentle jibes and making efforts at amelioration. And the entire affair was played before a full house, including a government class from Tarrant County Junior College. The closest the morning meeting came to a serious note was when a nice lady appeared before the court urging it to continue its interest in zoos. James Gaskin, appearing on the agenda under the name El-Asa of the United Front, the group attempting a boycott of white merchants in Fort Worth, told the court, quote, "I am not here to badger you or to threaten you. I am here to present problems, and anyone who reads anything else into this is a fool." He then proceeded to make such observations as, quote, "We in the black section of Fort Worth will live as equals to others in the society or system, or there won't be any society or system. You can't kill all of us," he said, "and those of us who will survive will live as equals to everyone else." He also told the court, "If we should have to resort to an all-out war, you will have no one to blame but yourselves." And he said, "If such a war should come, you cannot get help from outside the United States. There is none for you, whereas we black people know we can get help." The court offered no response to Gaskin's remarks whatsoever. They also postponed until December 6th any definitive action on a proposed civil service protection for county employees, and they agreed to take a trip tomorrow morning to tour the Trinity Water Project before deciding what stance they will take regarding coming court litigation on whether or not the Trinity Canal should be dug. Jerry Taff, Channel 8 News on the Move, Fort Worth.
Representative Jack Blanton tried to file as a candidate for State Senate District Number 16, but was turned down by County Democrat Chairman Earl Luna. Luna said he can't accept any filings because of a filing fee suit pending before the Supreme Court. But he wouldn't accept Blanton's anyway because Blanton moved into the new district only a few weeks ago.
In order to have your name placed on the ballot in the Democratic primary, it's necessary that you reside in that district for a period of 6 months prior to the filing deadline. The filing deadline is February 7, 1972, and this article, which was duly passed by the legislature and signed by the governor in 1967, would require that you must have resided in the district since August 7, 1971.
Even though pay a filing fee, and then if it was not all required, part of it would be returned, you wouldn't take it under those circumstances?
The reason that we cannot in any case at this time until the 1st of January, as I pointed out earlier, we are under an injunction from federal court right now from enforcing the law that was into effect, and by the very terms of the statute which you and your colleagues passed last session, if you, as I know you recall, it doesn't become effective until the 1st of January of 72, if at all. So between now and January 1, unless the Supreme Court sooner acts, I can't accept any filing fee in any case.
As he left the Democrat headquarters, Representative Blanton instructed his attorney, Bob Greenberg, to proceed into the courts to try to get the matter settled. Actually, there are several others right here in Dallas County who are in similar situations, having moved into new districts seeking to run for that office. And it's estimated that there are at least 20 around the state in similar situations. So there are a lot of people that will be interested in getting this particular question settled once and for all. There's an additional problem to consider, too. Those who have moved into a new district, if they're not allowed to run in that district, what about the district they came from? They have moved out of that and are no longer residents there, so can they continue to represent those districts? This is Roger McDonald, Channel 8 News on the Move, at the Dallas County Democrat headquarters.
Well, of course, you feel as though you have to play every shot remarkably well. Rod does everything well himself, so you just can't afford to make any errors. This is the way he has won his matches in recent years. As far as my game and the way I'll play him, I think that we have played many times, as you say, and we've had a lot of close matches. And a lot of sets have gone in his favour just by, kind of a flick of the coin, more or less. I think I have a good chance, and what I'll try to do is just vary my style of play a little bit in mixing it up, trying to give him some faster ones and some slower ones too.
Would you say that this particular match between you and Rod would be a game of finesse more than power?
Well, it depends on the surface. We're playing on one of the synthetic carpet courts, and the speed of this court does vary according to what it's placed down on.
I see.
It was very, very quick in Houston, and we'll just have to wait and see what the conditions of play are here.
He plays a different type of game to most of the boys, because I think his return of serve is an important factor in his own game, and therefore serving well or trying to keep him off stride is an important part of winning. I've had good success, but then again, he's beaten me, and it doesn't mean that you're going to win on Friday. But I do feel that I've got a good chance. My game is at a pretty top level, and concentration and timing of the ball is an important part of winning this match.
Would you anticipate a game of finesse or an aggressive, powerful game?
Oh, my game doesn't change a whole lot. I think it's pretty much aggressive. I like to attack the ball, and I make errors, but I feel that once in a while you get the ball to move in on, say, one particular game. You get 3 or 4 good passing shots or return of serves, and create some pressure on Kenny, and this is pretty much the way we always play.
During the past week, we telephoned 500 Dallas citizens at random. The questions and the results of those expressing an opinion are as follows. Question: are you aware of the major provisions of the proposed City of Dallas ordinance on open housing? Result: no, 92%. Yes, 8%. Question: you believe the Dallas City Council should pass an open housing ordinance without first submitting the proposals to the voters of Dallas? Result: no, 87%. Yes, 13%. Question: do you believe the Dallas City Council should pass an open housing ordinance or law? Result: no, 72%. Yes, 28%.
Since I believe that the function and power of government should be as close to the local situation as possible, I'd rather see us work this out here in Dallas in a peaceful manner where we can all participate than have our problems aired and discussed in federal courts here in New Orleans or Washington, D.C. Therefore, I heartily endorse passage of this ordinance for the City of Dallas. Thank you.
The weather today seems befitting the day it is, November 22nd, 1971. For it was 8 years ago today that the President of the United States, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, was shot to death just a few feet to my left. The ensuing investigation determined that the fatal shots were fired from that window, the second window from the top on the corner of the Texas School Book Depository. There has been so much said, so much written about that day in our history. Whether or not Lee Harvey worked alone, whether or not there was a conspiracy, the Warren Commission report has been generally accepted to be accurate. Today, at the new John Fitzgerald Kennedy Plaza, just a couple of blocks from here, memorial services were held. Dallas Mayor Wes Wise set the scene.
Each of us here today remembers this day with his own special kind of grief, because John F. Kennedy was that special kind of man. He was a man of ideas, which inspired in some a deep feeling of inspiration and trust, and in others a reaction of opposition. But the courage of the idea of the man was always there. And so we must all learn from our mistakes. We must renew our learning each year at this time to accept and encourage the idea of new ideas, even if we cannot embrace the original idea itself. And we must learn to accept and respect the man of courage behind those ideas, as Dallas turned out in thousands to show her acceptance and respect of John F. Kennedy those 8 years ago. Today we return in renewal and in dedication to the spirit of John F. Kennedy, truly a man of ideas and a man of ideals.
Of course, in the block immediately south of the depository is Dealey Plaza. It is here that you will find a map of the parade route and the assassination site marked. It is also from here that tourists come to take pictures, to look upward to that 6th floor, and to speculate on what may have happened. On a little bit brighter day, late last week, we talked to a couple of those tourists about why they had come to this spot. Good morning. Where are you from, sir?
Kansas City, Missouri.
What brings you to this place today?
To see the memorial and the actual site where Kennedy was killed.
Have you been here before?
Yes, we have.
How many times would you say?
Oh, we've been here at least 2 or 3 times.
Now, being from Kansas City, why are you in Dallas? Certainly not just to view the assassination site.
No, we're on vacation, but we always stop by to see it when we're here.
There is talk of making the Texas School Book Depository a privately owned museum. If that happened, and if there was a $1.50, $2 charge, would you pay to go inside?
Certainly. I'd love to see it. And it seems to me that it should be kept as a museum, as it was, as much as possible.
What was your impression of President Kennedy?
I thought he was a great man. Of course, he made mistakes like all presidents, but he died at a very untimely time, when I thought he could have done something for the United States.
When the shots were fired from that window into this street, of course, President Kennedy was killed. But also wounded was Texas Governor John Connally. He held a news conference in Washington today, and from him came maybe the most startling remarks of the day. He was asked by Sarah McClendon how he felt 8 years later. Strange that this man should not remember, now 8 years later. It's also strange that there are no tourists here today. Maybe it's the weather, I don't know, but there is no one in sight except myself and the cameraman. They'll always come. How long they'll come and what their thoughts will be as the years go on remains to be seen. But this is the big tourist attraction, whether we like it or not, in the city of Dallas. From Kennedy Plaza, this is Jim Mitchell, Channel 8 News on the Move.